February 23rd, Sunday, 1878. I came down from my room to see that Charlotte was already sitting at the dining table, somberly staring at her plate, pushing the food on it about with her fork. "You plan to eat that," I began. "Right, Charlotte?"
I'm sorry.
"Don't apologize, just do it." I took my seat across from her, observing the child as she avoided any eye contact with me. "I'm not angry."
Then what are you?
I struggled to find the right words that seemed sincere and convincing enough. "I'm concerned." Finally, Charlotte's beautifully colored, beady eyes left their plate and looked into mine. Her sickly pale skin flushed a little bit of a pale pink as life kicked back into her face. She slowly dropped her head again and gazed drearily at her plate once more. Freida quickly came over and put my plate in front of me as I placed my napkin on my lap, but not once letting Charlotte leave my sight. Freida continued to hover over my shoulder for a little while, seeming eager but even more hesitant to say something. "Yes?" I turned to look back at her. "Can I help you with something?" The frightened mouse grew still in her place, skin losing all pigment of color as she shook her head quickly, muttering,
No, master.
She retreated from my backside and began moving amongst the room, doing mundane tasks to make it seem like she was actually doing work. But that wasn't my concern at the time. "You're still not eating, Charlotte," I had observed and pointed to Charlotte, who continued poking and prodding her sausage up until hearing my words. She started.
No.
"Do you not want to go out with me tomorrow?"
No, I mean, I want to.
Suddenly she stamped her sausage, raising it to her mouth quickly, ready to eat it, when suddenly she lowered it from her lips and it fell back into her plate. Her little hands were shaking, and she looked ready to tear up again. She took a deep breath and kept her head down, this time not seeming to allow herself to cry.
I am not hungry.
"That is a problem, mein kleines Mädchen. You haven't been hungry for over a week, and you've chosen to listen to that and not eat.
Sorry.
Apologizing to me isn't going to cure your malnourishment. Eat." Charlotte continued to stare at her plate in silence, still holding the fork in her hand that contained the sausage. After a few minutes, I grew rather annoyed and stood up with my plate. "You won't eat? Then I won't eat with you."
But I can do it.
She began pleading to get me to sit down again. "I have work, and I won't let you waste my time for nothing, Charlotte." I turned towards Freida, who was still in the room doing whatever it was that she was doing. "Keep an eye on her and tell me whether or not she eats. And do not lie to me." I headed toward the door when Freida had run up to me, grabbing hold of my arm tenderly and said,
Meister, perhaps would help if you not watch closely. So much pressure on the kleiner makes harder for her.
I shrugged off and continued on my way out to my study. It was noon when I had taken the time to walk outside to the garden for a smoke, only to find Freida and Charlotte having tea and sandwiches together.
I used to do this with my mare.
Charlotte cheerfully said to the maid as her teacup was being filled.
And Heidi too, sometimes. Though I don't remember her much.
Freida stopped pouring the girl tea and switched to her cup as she responded with,
I'm so sorry, mein kleines Fräulein. Heidi was your Schwester, no?
Mm-hmm. They were both so pretty. Just like you.
Oh, you're too sweet, Schwarz.
The mouse finally took notice of me and was almost startled.
Meister, you'll be glad to know that the kleiner ate her breakfast. Only a few scraps left, too.
I made eye contact with Charlotte, who had a proud grin on her face. "Did you?" I asked the child. She eagerly answered with glee.
Yes, Miss Freida thought it would be good for me to get some sun and fresh air. She makes very good sandwiches.
"So you have eaten some?"
Mm-hmm.
She excitedly nodded her head. "Good." I finished my fag and made my way back inside the manor. Late in the evening, I heard a knocking at my door. I answered and saw Freida carrying a mobile food cart, accompanied by Charlotte. Freida began to ramble.
We thought maybe you'd be willing to try to eat with the kleiner again, maybe.
I cocked an eyebrow at the two and then made space and gestured for them to come in. Charlotte pulled up her chair to my desk as Freida set up the food on it. When she was done, I said, "You may go.
But
Your service is not needed any further. Get out." She meekly bowed her head in cowardice and scampered out. I made my way to the desk and went to the seat that was once again across from Charlotte, who was patiently waiting for me with a smug look on her face.
It got easier.
She started.
After the first bite, it started to get easier. It wasn't easy at all, but it wasn't as hard as before. And after each meal, thinking of the next one wasn't as repulsive as the idea of the last.
I took my seat and responded. Sounds like you're improving then.
I hope so.
Oh? And why do you hope that?
So you won't be alone. So I can take care of you. And Freida. And Jean-Paul.
I gave out a chuckle at the child's sweetness. And what about tomorrow?
Yes, that too. Ice cream. Ice cream and water.
Of course a Kerstin would be excited for a nachtig.
And the park. Getting outside was nice. I want to go out to the park with you, Vata, as well.
Yes, I'm sure the sun and fresh air is very good for you. We most definitely will have to do that then. She gasped and bounced in her seat with thrill. I had then come to realize that as we talked, Charlotte was also eating, just like me. Once she had finished, I took her to her room and read her a bedtime story, kissing her forehead good night, and retreated to the darkness. February 24th. Sunday, 1878. As promised, I treated Charlotte out to a treat at the ice cream parlor, as I ordered myself a cup of tea. Later, the two of us walked through the park, but Charlotte had suddenly thrown me off when she said she wanted to go to a flower shop. Once asked if there was something else she wanted to do. It surprised me because she never had a thing for buying flowers, nor did she have much of a desire for them in general. The only time she touched flowers were the ones in the garden, and that was to make crowns out of them. She explained to me that she wanted to get 2 boutiques and bring them to Lottie and Heidi's graves. I wasn't fond of the idea, as I had only ever planned to visit them no more than twice a year, birthdays and death days, if even. But I could tell that this was the only thing Charlotte wanted to do more than anything else. I gave in and we bought boutiques to their graves. By the time we got home, Charlotte was tired and tuckered out, leaving me to carry her to the manor part of the way. Once again, after dinner, I tucked Charlotte into bed.